Hi, I'm Madhu. Thanks for having me here. I'm the co-founder of Vlinder, right? We founded this company in 2018 with a vision of enabling businesses to harness the power of blockchain, right? That's how we started, and we were deeply motivated with the UN Sustainability Development Goals, right? Especially that the emphasis it lays on technology for integrity, transparency, and trust, right? So with that as the basis, we started developing blockchain-based platforms and solutions. And today we are very happy that we have three major solutions. The first one is what we call as TRAG, which is the supply chain authenticity and traceability solutions. I'm going to talk a lot about it today, but in summary, it basically helps businesses protect their brands, enhance their brands, and take their customer experience to the next level. We also do have platforms on identity management, which we firmly believe. There are multiple offshoot solutions we have, and something that's relevant to this forum here is what we are doing with a parametric insurance sort of a solution that we are building for one of our customers. Lastly, we don't want to be left out with a buzzword in blockchain today, which is NFTs and non-fungible tokens. So we do have an NFT platform that's coming up with our own USPs that we can tie actually back to the supply chain, right, and collectibles that we are launching pretty shortly. So this in brief is what Vlinder does, and we'll dwell more into the track part of the solution as we proceed. Yeah, it's a great question, right? So let's see who is driving the adoption of traceability, right? So there are many players there, right? Let me just focus on brands. Let me focus on governments because they do play a very important role. And finally, let's talk about consumers, right? So let's talk about brands, right? And we had the two earlier speakers emphasize, right, how crazy they are and how passionate they are about driving traceability. So I would just want to give an example from a Flinder's point of view, right? So our traceability platform today is driving a grain to grass sort of a solution for a leading distillery in India, right? So when we actually started looking at what are the problems the distillery space has, we did really find that counterfeiting is a big problem. And there are many unique characteristics of the product which the end consumer really does not know, right? So when we actually designed a platform, right, which has authenticity built in along with traceability and showed it to the customer, right, he was actually wowed with the prospects of what this solution could offer him, right? So then we went
Tell
ahead
us
and
what you mean by authenticity in this context. I'm not sure that seems means the same thing to everybody.
Yeah, so I think one of the key problems from a distillery standpoint is counterfeiting, right?
Yeah.
Brands do lose a lot of value because once the products are counterfeited, right, the customer experience actually goes for a toss, right? So we did build, novel and innovative solutions involving NFC chips and blockchain technology, which basically let that specific customer know that when any end customer buys his product, even before he actually opens it, he would actually know whether it's authentic or not, whether the bottle of whiskey has been opened or not, right, to that level. So the engagement was even before he buys, right, you could actually know whether it's a counterfeit or not. So it basically enhances his overall brand value, right? Added to this is digital gives you a single place of aggregation of all information, right? So he could actually push the story of his entire product, right from where his cereals were sourced, how they were fermented, right, and what was the distillation process, right, and how was it aged, right, what are the sort of casks it was used, right, and how was it bottled, the entire provenance solution, right, from the time the cereals were procured till the time you purchase it, right, the entire information is available at the click of a phone, right, at the, using our app as well as the website, right? So basically what it actually added, right, was enhanced customer experience, right? So today it actually enabled the brands to establish a direct to customer channel, right? The thing that we did different was personalization. We believe that customers are the kings, right? So our solution tries to personalize the experience in terms of the overall communicating the overall product journey, right? So
Do you
the
have so let me ask you a quick one just about, because we hear a lot about blockchain, but we also hear about the danger of garbage in, garbage out.
yeah.
So that
So I think
it right at the beginning, they've got to put something in there that's
it's a
quality for that to mean something.
it's a very good question, right? And I was actually going to come to that
Okay.
because one of our previous speakers actually mentioned that as a specific problem, right? Now, what do we do is, that's why I did mention as a part of my introduction, we do have a solution on identity management, right? So our traceability platform uses a lot of constructs from the identity management platform that we use, right? And the very reason why we do that is to sort of prevent, right, garbage in from getting into the blockchain, right? So there's a lot of deterrent once you know who is actually writing into the blockchain, right? So we do have a certain patented technologies that we have derived and we have built into track, which to a large extent prevents garbage getting into the system, right? So that is one part of the solution, right? So brands do play a big role in promoting traceability and solutions. uh, and when I speak about this, right, it's just not small distillers. We have been talking to distillers of different sizes, right from very small distillers to the larger ones too. And everyone understands today that the way they can actually scale is through employing traceability solutions in their products. The fact that we launched our lighthouse customer in the middle of the COVID pandemic basically
Mhm.
gives the commitment, right, of the brands to basically see how important this feature is to have in your products, right? Now let me talk briefly about governments, because that's again something that's very interesting. Now, every government in the world has a common problem to solve, which is the problem of the solvers, a problem of the farmers, right? Because if you basically take care of your farmers, who are the breadwinners of your nation, most of your other things are actually taken care of, and
And you
solving
get a
the
lot of
solution.
votes. And you get a lot of votes as well.
I didn't want to sound political here, right? But if you look at the challenges that a typical farmer actually face, not one single entity actually can solve all the problems,
Yeah.
right? Even 10% of the problems. And most governments have realized this, and they encourage forming consortiums, right, where different people actually pull in with their expertise, and these consortiums actually go ahead and implement proof of concept that basically prove that the effective yields of farmers can improve, the effective income of farmers can improve, blah blah blah, in the various metrics. What we have seen actually is governments are at the forefront of initiating and pivoting such consortiums and driving POCs, right? As we speak, I'm very happy to tell that we are actually engaged in one such consortium in India, right? Where we are actually, trying to implement traceability solutions right from farm to fork for one type of a crop which is grown in a particular state that we are actually working with.
And the government
So
interest there is that they can see the value generated and how much of that gets to the farmer, and in a way they can balance that. Is that the idea?
that's exactly the motive, right?
Mhm.
So that's, governments do actually play a very important role. The last I want to talk is customers, although I touched a part of it, right? um, when you talk about customers, we need to be a little bit careful, because we are actually living through a series of generations, right? The millennials are no problems at all, because they are at the forefront of asking for more. They don't trust anything that they are being told. They want proof, right? So when it comes to millennials, there is a lot of engagement, right? But the not so tech savvy, I would also want to give a point there, right? Because we cannot take them for granted. We just had an issue in India like a few months back, where the quality of honey that was being sold, there was a this thing that there were artificial agents being mixed, right? Then actually you could see the reaction of all the major brands there. Everybody came in with some form of traceability, right? Either in terms of QR, or in terms of making sure your certifications are actually available to be displayed. Because brands then realize that the customers, if they are not being told the truth of how their products are being made, there's a big chance of churn, right? And it is
Yeah,
just not the millennials that we
absolutely.
are talking of, right? So the customers have a lot of inertia, as I see, right? And we cannot just neglect the fact that they are not asking for information. Does not mean that they are not interested in the
Absolutely.
information being used.
And
right?
that trust that's out there can be quickly lost in situations like that.
Right.
Great.
So
Yeah. Another 30 seconds. Go ahead.
yeah, so I would just want to say that it's all the three that are important, and we need to weigh in, and depends on the type of product. Everybody has their role to play. And specifically, right, the problem that you brought about of garbage in, garbage out is very, very important. These systems need to work at the end of the day, right? Or it actually has no purpose. So there is a lot of thinking in terms of technology and solutioning and architecting that goes around in terms of making sure how we can add more value into the problem statement that we are solving. I think
These
it's
interventions.
I think it's great that people are thinking about traceability. I think the beginning is already made, right, from that standpoint. Coffee, cocoa, honey. I think these are some products where we could start applying the provenance steps. Authenticity, there are multiple ways we could actually look at counterfeiting and authenticity, right? And I think one of the key things that I would want to bring to the table is something what we passionately call as digital, right? So today, we should leverage technology to sort of have each physical product leave a digital trail, right? And as long as you're able to do that in a seamless and a cost-effective way, your products will speak for yourself, right? And we see that as a broader trend, right? Be it in coffee, be it in cocoa, be it in honey, or anything else, right? So I think we should move towards piloting, right? These sort of solutions for each type of crop, and see how the market participants and the end customers do react. I think that's something we should start taking that step across the entire agri food chain, right? I think the second thing I would want to slightly talk about here is parametric insurance, right? We have done quite an amount of work with one of our partners, right? But we do see parametric insurance as a game changer for farmers in terms of accessibility to finance and providing the right cost insurance, because a lot of the farm outputs today in majority of the world is still dependent on weather, which is highly
When you
highly
say
highly
parametric
unpredictable.
insurance, you mean like indexed insurance, so that this would be insurance that folks that has a payout based on observable things like storms or drought or
Perfect.
things like
That's
that.
correct. That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Right. And so it breaks away from the traditional parlance of insurance, where you get insurance based on the size of the land, blah blah blah. Right. It's based on one unique piece, and you can, if you have a higher coverage or want a higher coverage, you could actually apply for higher units, right? And the payout is automatic, and it's all based on occurrences from authorized weather sources, right? And that's, I think, a big leap in terms of technology and in terms of providing the financial security to farmers, right?
And
And
it's
I think
low cost.
at low
Low
cost,
cost.
right? Yeah. I think that's something that is definitely is many markets are moving towards that, and that's one area where there could be focus on.